There's a key difference between becoming easier and accessible. It's the difference between saying, this is hard and this is confusing. Becoming more accessible is always a good thing, as all it does is save you a Google search. Becoming easier is usually a good thing, but for certain games it can be detrimental. Monster Hunter is one of those games, as without a meaty challenge and taking down a beast, the game becomes a grindy slog as you keep trying for rare drops. But with the constant threat of death even with high quality armor, it makes each hunt a high stakes battle where one wrong move can cost you and your fellow hunters dearly. Yet ever since World, Monster Hunter has become more and more streamlined, much to Capcom's delight as it's their highest selling franchise by far. But is Wilds the game that's taken it a step too far? So let's look at all the major quality of life changes made in the newest installment and see if Monster Hunter has lost its edge. Also, consider liking and subscribing if this isn't the first video of mine you've watched. Firstly, the option to end hunts immediately based on a group vote. This is nothing but a net positive. I challenge anyone watching this to come up with a sane reason why this change takes away from the core difficulty of the series in any way. If they went so far as to remove the timer altogether and you have the carves immediately deposited into your inventory, then yes, I agree that's a problem, as those 60 seconds also allow you to scavenge any bones or minerals nearby, and we can all agree that taking a break from hunting to go on a resource gathering run isn't fun or how we want to spend our time. But letting the group vote on if they want to gather resources after the carving is complete is a great way to get us back into the next hunt and keep the gameplay loop as smooth as possible. Next is a more contentious topic, the offline NPC supporters. Now, these NPCs are really good at staying alive and dealing damage. There was a solid 5-hour stretch over the first weekend for me when my internet bandwidth was failing due to everyone being home, so I came to rely on these hunters, and I don't think they even fainted once. What's more, experimenting revealed that cheesing the fight by getting them to do everything is as simple as occasionally firing a long-range shot, which causes them to attack for 30 seconds before they go passive again. They're a busted power-up for sure, and they certainly remove one of the core aspects that makes Monster Hunter so addictive, the communal experience of taking down a ferocious beast with real people. However, many of you can attest that fighting an Elder Dragon solo is an exercise in insanity, as their relentless assaults are solely focused on you, and eventually, these hunters will become the only way that Wilds will remain playable. See, I only played World after the first Wilds beta. I already had nearly 300 hours in Rise, so I'm not a newcomer to the series, mind you, and the barren community made those final few story mode hunts a nightmare, as I had almost no support when it came to taking down the Elder Dragons. Thankfully, there was still a community playing the Iceborne missions, but now they've probably left forever and started Wilds. And one day, Capcom will shut down the online function of World, making it harder than some FromSoft games in my opinion. So the NPC hunters in Wild are a necessary addition, but maybe they shouldn't be here at launch. I guess if you still engage with the game earnestly and don't cheese the monster by making the NPCs do all the work, it's fine. And hey, if you do cheese the game, that must be incredibly boring. I just think maybe NPC helpers are a step too far. But at the same time, there's no way I would have been able to beat the final boss without their support while I waited for the Wi-Fi to come back. Also, palicos are now officially redundant. Next is the auto-looting of broken parts. This to me is also nothing but a net positive to the flow of hunts. I like the aspect of carving up my quarry's carcass after I've killed it, but running around to pick up some loose tooths and nails in between transitions is a pace killer. Rise made massive improvements to pacing with the addition of palamutes and letting you sharpen while moving, and Wilds arguably takes it too far with the autopilot secrets, but I'll talk about that in an upcoming video. But having the broken part be auto-looted blends wonderfully with the new wound system, meaning parts will be broken off far more frequently. What's more, this is balanced by no longer allowing gems or plates to be broken off of monsters, so you're only going to be picking up common items anyway. I think that's a fair trade-off, and be honest, there have been times where we've ignored the broken materials and just chased after the monster because we couldn't be bothered, so this feels like a win for the series. Lastly, we had the backup weapon stored on your secret. This change doesn't feel all that consequential to me, and I haven't really been utilizing it since the game never requires me to switch. I just feel like changing my combat style mid-hunt will break my flow and cause me to mess up. So I guess it's a good quality of life change, but the only way I see it being useful is to new players still trying to figure out their main weapon. I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about the best things about Dragon's Dogma 2.